What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now. That is on me. I had the ties on. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. As we're going to be breaking down the live OTA period for the Minnesota Vikings that went down the past 2 days. We already had some real ones in the chat. Z Cool, Joey, Carey, Salee, the Viking, Roger Bong, of course. Welcome in, everybody. Well, we do let the audience build up here. You guys could give me a skull down in the comments section. We'll be breaking it all down from the OTA period for your Minnesota Vikings, as a lot of takeaways came from it. You know, J.J. McCarthy, Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner looks awesome. I mean, you should hear the way Brian Flores talks about this guy. I feel like he's talking about a young Von Miller when he's describing his game. But Z Cool in the chat. Cameron Thompson, what's up, everybody? Squad saying skull. Bob saying skull. Michael Watts saying skull as well. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Super excited to talk about the OTA period, as we still we got real football here. It's not real football. We got some analysis that we can make from these short OTA periods. But the Vikings did have practice on Monday and Tuesday. They're off today, and then they do have practice on tomorrow, Thursday. So that's how their schedule's shaping up for this week. As X is vibing, saying Dallas Turner looks like he's going to be a star from reporters there. Yeah, I mean, just everything I've heard from Dallas Turner is like he is living up to that hype as being one of the best defensive players in the entire draft. So we'll have a full segment breaking down the OTA periods, and we're also going to be talking about TJ Hockinson. Got some injury news around him, and then also Dalton Risner. It sounded like his agent is actually reaching out to the Minnesota Vikings, hoping they can get a deal done there, but it actually seems like the Vikings want to lean more Blake Brandel as that starting left guard spot, so we'll break that down. Shout out to Eric LaPointe in the chat. Eric, I forgot to bring it again today. We haven't been able to go live the past couple of weeks, but you guys know Eric LaPointe in the chat. He's from New Mexico. He sent me this sweet chain, and it's a custom-designed Vikings chain, and it is awesome, so just want to give a shout-out to him. It's sweet. And then also shout out to John in the chat. But I want you guys to let me know. One more free agent do you guys want the Vikings to sign? Let me know who that is down in the comment section. We'll be talking about Dalton Risner and Hunter Renfro on today's show. So those are two names, that are out there right now. Also got guys like Michael Thomas, former Saints receiver. So, there's a ton of good guys out there, but let me know. As Z Cool saying, saw the way too early NFC Central ranking. Very disappointing to see them not believe in the Vikings. And yeah, I mean, if you look at, I guarantee you, any NFL media member that is going to come out with their NFC North rankings or even NFC rankings, the Vikings will be near the bottom of that list, and for sure in the NFC North. The Lions and Packers, they have a ton of hype, and obviously we know this is the time of the calendar year when the Bears, the hype is through the roof. Like, I swear to God, you're going to be on your Twitter or any social media, and you're going to see Caleb Williams passes to DJ Moore. Same stuff as last year with Justin Fields. Bears, they win the offseason every year, but still going to have to wait and see if that will come to fruition. As Rocky, my dad's in the chat, shout out to you.
I didn't realize that they started throwing around rings for the offseason.
Seriously? No, seriously. The Bears are the number one team where it's like they win the best media clips every single year. Like, their training camp.
They did it with Mitch Trubisky, too.
Oh, Trace, great point. So I grew up in Chicago, so a bunch of my friends are Bears fans. And they have went through the saga of having Mitchell Trubisky jerseys, then Justin Fields jerseys, and now it's Caleb Williams. He is their saving grace. But, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Rocky in the chat saying Risner. Roger saying I agree with Dalton Risner. And X is saying Risner would be a good one, but we need a wide receiver 3. I'd say Renfro. He's played the best out of all available wideouts from the last couple of years. Yeah, we're going to talk about Renfro a little bit more in depth, but I'm actually starting to get in the camp that I don't think wide receiver 3 is necessarily a big-time need for the Minnesota Vikings, and, for a couple reasons that I'll get into. But I do want to show, even though I do believe Sam Darnold is going to be the starting quarterback for all 17 weeks this season, I want to show some love to J.J. McCarthy, because you are going to see reports that are going to come out that J.J. McCarthy's been struggling at OTAs, and, I think he is that one guy where it's like, these media members, like especially these like analytic guys, like they want to, shut him down and they want to rip on him a little bit. And any chance they get that opportunity to, they're going to take full advantage. Like, I got a notification from Bleacher Report that the Vikings coaches chewed out J.J. McCarthy after a couple of bad throws, and I'm like, listen, they probably gave him a couple of just pieces of advice, but like the whole like term, like they chewed him out, they were cursing him out, like.
Also, coaching exists.
Coaching exists.
It's called coaching.
Like, yes, and like we knew this with JJ.
Don't be soft.
Like, we did not draft a Jaden Daniels or a Michael Penix, who were 23, 24 years old, where they're more ready to start, year one. We drafted JJ. He's the youngest quarterback in this class by a year, and this is a process with JJ. So I wanted to show him some love at the top of today's show. So type those 9s in the comments section. Shout out to Nick, Z Cool, and Zali in the chat. And then Z Cool saying this is day 2 in the big league. Let him learn. Exactly. Like, this is his second day. Like, I mean, I already have people in the chat sports office, turning to me being like, oh, did you see J.J. McCarthy, throw all those interceptions? Did you see, the coaches are getting on J.J.? I'm like, yes, it's his second day, being an NFL quarterback. It's like that
Lil Uzi Vert video. It's like, it's only my third day out here. I don't know.
It's only my third day out here. I don't even know. I was going to say, that is genius. That is genius. But, yeah, so I wanted to show him some love, as I feel like he's just that guy that anytime anybody has a chance to kind of bring him down, like, people are going to take advantage of that opportunity. So, yeah. Eric saying, well, what if JJ can start and blow away a high draft pick then? Well, I mean, you took JJ for his potential to be a franchise quarterback for the next 15 years, and I don't think it's necessary that he plays year 1 or 2, because the Vikings Super Bowl window, the way they're setting it up right now, is when JJ's on years 3, 4, and 5 of his rookie contract, having a really low cap hit. You can build a studded team around him, and then that's your opportunity to go win a Super Bowl. It's not these next couple of seasons, but we'll obviously have to wait and see on that one. But we are going to be getting into a mailbag in about probably 40 minutes or so. So if you guys got a question to ask me, could be around the OTA period, could be around some free agent targets, trade targets, whatever it may be, use hashtag Vikings. Or if you guys want to support the show, I would really appreciate it, as always. Send in a super chat. Just wanted the, no real fun games today. I'm not going to be drinking today. But if you guys just want to support the show, and if you guys can, send in a super chat. It's a great way to do so, and I would really appreciate it. But I just want to kind of keep today just talking ball, talking OTAs, and just hanging out with some real ones. As Nope saying DJ versus Sam Darnold, though. Chow would love it. Yeah, Nope. First off, thanks for tuning in, man.
I'll say this. So if somebody does send in a $20 super chat,
okay,
I'll put a picture up on the screen of my new dog.
I would love that, actually. So Trace, our Saints Now host, he is producing today's live show. Shout out to him. But he just got a dog, and he has a great name for him. His name is Dude, and he is the cutest little puppy, man. It is awesome. It is awesome. It's funny, quick little tidbit. So my family, it was during COVID. We were planning on getting a new dog, and we were going to name him Diggs for Stephon Diggs. Literally 2 weeks later, Stephon Diggs got traded. We had to shift to the name Rocky, hence why you guys see Rocky in the chat. So, as Roger's saying, I'll drink for both of us. Hey, there you go. There you go. But if you guys want to support the show, send in a super chat or hashtag Vikings. But coming up on the show today, for the next hour, we're going to be diving into a lot around your Vikes. We got day 1 and day 2 OTA takeaways for Minnesota. TJ Hockenson injury news, which is big, him coming off that torn ACL. We will have a mailbag, like I was saying, so use hashtag Vikings if you guys want to get up on the show. And then if you guys are ready, if you guys could, drop a like on today's show. We got 15 likes. If we could get to 20 likes before we start, that would be awesome. Just help me kind of push the stream out to more and more Vikings fans, and also make me look good for my bosses as well as they look at stuff like that. So I would appreciate it. And then Nope saying, Chad, don't betray us, Giants like that. Hey, Nope. If it's JJ versus Daniel Jones week 1, I guarantee you Mr. Rick will be rooting for the Giants. As Roger saying, what kind of dog? He's a golden retriever. He is absolutely adorable. So I am who I am, saying Jackson will be starting CB by week 1. We're going to be talking about Kyrie Jackson here in a little bit. He had a ton of sweet plays versus Jordan Addison at OTAs. And then Rob Simpy saying, yeet, yeet. What's up, Rob? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Yeet, yeet. Love that. As Z Cool asking a question. I appreciate it. Z, we will definitely get to that. So if you guys could, hashtag Vikings, get your questions in on the mailbag. Or if you guys want to show some love to me, show some love to Trace and I, what we do here, sending a super chat is a great way to do so. But I'm excited to dive into these OTA takeaways. If you guys are too, we just need 2 more likes. And then we'll get into it. Yeah, Nope. We got the Giants Now crew showing out right now. I love it. I love to see it. But, yeah, 2 likes away. We can dive into the OTA takeaways as We're going to be talking about the 2 first-round picks for the Vikes and J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner for the majority of this segment. And also Kyrie Jackson. Like, he looked good again following his rookie minicamp performance. So I'm very excited. As Mr. Rick saying, I'm rocking opening day at MetLife with my horn helmet and Joe Knapp jersey if DJ is starting 100%. Mr. Rick, I want to see some skull chants coming in at MetLife from you. I would love that. X, great question. I appreciate it. But, hey, we just crossed over 20 likes. We're going to be getting our takeaways from days 1 and 2 of the Vikings OTA period. Shout out to Cameron Thompson as well. But, Trace, if you're ready, we can rock and roll. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's get it. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, I wanted to go over some of my top takeaways from day 1 and day 2 of the OTA periods for the Minnesota Vikings, as they had day 1 on Monday, day 2 on Tuesday, and they took a break today on Wednesday, but then they're back at it Thursday for day 3. So I got 5 takeaways coming from those first 2 periods. But if you guys are ready for Vikings football to be back, give me a skull down in the comment section, because I am just getting teased by all these OTA clips, and I just want to see Week 1, Vikings-Giants in MetLife. I just can't wait for that game. So if you guys are ready for it as well, just get the good vibes going and get me a skull down in the comment section. All right, my number 1 takeaway from the OTA period. J.J. McCarthy has juice. Now, we've gotten reports coming out that J.J.'s been struggling a little bit. We've heard that, McCarthy's thrown a couple interceptions, and, a couple of the coaches had to get on him, no doubt about it. But I'm not really looking too much into that, as it is his, second day, being a true Minnesota Viking necessarily. So I'm not really looking too much into the negative, but some positive around JJ. Wes Phillips, offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, had this quote following the period saying, "You see the juice that got when he lets go of the football." And if you guys have seen some clips, like that ball comes out of his hand firing every single throw. And then also Alec Lewis of The Athletic, who's been there on the field, does a great job. Give him a follow on Twitter if you guys haven't already. He is fantastic. He says one thing is very, very obvious watching McCarthy for 2 practices. The velocity cliche of the ball jumps out of his hands, I'm not sure if it's ever been more apparent for a dude. He has major juice, and I totally agree. I mean, if you go turn on his tape from his college career, man, like the ball flies out of his hands. Anytime it's an intermediate route over the middle of the field, that thing's coming off on a line, and he's hitting the receiver on time and on target and in the chest. My biggest kind of gripe with JJ, and the thing I think he needs to work on the most, though, however, is his touch throws. Because, go look at his college tape. You look at all the throws, he very rarely is layering the football, in between 2 zones. Everything feels like it's a line drive for him. And I think back to this play, it's actually in the college football semifinal 2 years ago, not when he won the national championship against TCU. Michigan's at the 45-yard line working in. It's a play action, and he's got a deep post to one of his wide receivers. And this ball is on an absolute line for 60 yards. It has no air under it, because he doesn't really throw the ball with that much touch, but he still has the arm strength and just the juice on that cannon of his to get the ball there. So, JJ, he looks good. People are freaking out about, a couple of, interceptions, and I'm not really looking too much into that. I'm just looking at how he's commanding himself and how the ball is coming off his hands, and it all looks good on that side of things. But number 2 for me, Dallas Turner is freaky, and every report I have heard that coming out about Dallas Turner is that this man is just a freak athlete. I mean, we've heard the comparisons of a young Von Miller, as he is super bendy, getting around the edge, super athletic. I mean, look at the guy right here. He is just a freak athlete, big legs, super versatile on the defensive side of the football. And, Brian Flores was talking about him, just how much of a freak athlete he is. And, he's been dominating. I saw a couple of clips of him just doing some pad drills, and it is just special what he's done. And I think, with the run of offensive players we had in this NFL draft, and, I was watching the Vikings YouTube video where it's behind the scenes of how they actually acquired Dallas Turner, and they were talking about it. They were like, we might get the best defensive player in the draft at 17 just because of the stretch of offensive players that went. I mean, we had 5 quarterbacks in the top 12. I think we had 3 receivers, multiple offensive linemen, And then he got the pick 17, and the only defensive player taken before him was Latu going to the Indianapolis Colts. And I think we got the better edge. We got Dallas Turner, and he has lived up to the hype. He is truly looking like a star here in Minnesota. So just want to give some love to number 15. But overall, the first 2 picks for the Vikings in this year's draft, like absolutely killing it so far. And then number 3. So there was a couple clips of Kyrie Jackson, our 4th-round pick out of Oregon this past year, going head-to-head against Jordan Addison. And it was pretty cool. Anytime there was one-on-one drills, like Kyrie was going for that matchup against Jordan Addison. And actually one clip, he had a sweet pass breakup. J.J. McCarthy was the quarterback. They were running some 7-on-7s. Kyrie Jackson was running a deep in. Jordan Addison beat him by about half a step, but he was on top of him the entire route. And then just do the Kyrie Jackson, just super big frame. I mean, he's 6'4", super long arms. J.J. actually threw a pretty decent ball. Maybe you could say it was a step behind him, but Kyrie just over the top knocked it down. And that's why I was such a big believer in him, that, maybe maybe his technique and his fluidity wasn't, up to the standard yet of an NFL quarterback. But I feel like his floor is a lot higher than people think, just because of his natural size, just because of his 6'4" frame, just because of the long arms that he has. And, a very good route runner like Jordan Addison, he was able to stay step for step with him, and he had a sweet pass breakup on a big-time in-breaking route thrown by J.J. McCarthy. So he wasn't getting starting reps when they did go to some team periods just yet, but I think Kyrie Jackson's one of those guys. We're going to look back at this draft, and, all the headlines are about J.J. and Dallas Turner. I mean, the best value pick out of this draft class might just be the Oregon quarterback in the 4th round. But my 4th takeaway, and this isn't anything on the field. This isn't anything, schematically that I saw. But number 4 for me was Aaron Jones looks freaking good in purple, man. And I thought it would be weird at first, seeing Aaron Jones rock the purple and gold coming from the Green Bay Packers. But he brought swagger to the football field. They posted a highlight video of him. He was making some catches in the pass game, the screen game, which we know how effective he's been in Green Bay in that department. But if you guys forget last season, he was the best running back in the National Football League from Week 14 on, according to rushing yards over expected, which is a key stat that I look at all the time. That's a big reason why, I assumed Dalvin Cook was going to have the fall off he did. But Aaron Jones is definitely living up to that hype, and he's going to need to, because the Vikings, rushing stats under Kevin O'Connell are just terrible. I mean, in his first season as the head coach, Vikings only averaged 97.7 yards per game, which was 27th in the National Football League. This past year, no running game at all. Only 91.4 rushing yards per game. That was almost dead last in the NFL at 29th being their ranking. So hopefully Aaron Jones, obviously it's a relationship in the run game. You got to have the offensive line to do it. But I've honestly felt over the past 2 seasons under the Kevin O'Connell, when it was 2022 with Dalvin Cook, I didn't think he did too good of a job. And in 2023 with Alexander Mattison being the workhorse, I didn't feel like he did such a good job. And I feel like automatically as fans, we chalk up to a poor running game automatically to the offensive line. I actually think with the Vikings it's different. I think the past couple of years I could chalk up most of the blame to the running back position, and I'm hoping that Aaron Jones is able to change that. But we got one more takeaway from the OTA period coming your way in a second. But first off, I got to tell you guys about a sweet deal we have going on right now at chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Get your J.J. McCarthy jersey today. He's rocking the number 9. This is the throwback one. I got mine already in the mail on the way, and I can't wait to rock it. I'm going to be rocking it for almost every show you guys see up here. And normally game days I wear number 18. I wear Jefferson's jersey, but I got a feeling when this kid makes his first start, I'm going to probably switch it up and rock the 9. But if you guys want to as well, head to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey and get your J.J. McCarthy jersey today. So the fifth takeaway I had is where the hell is Justin Jefferson? Everybody's freaking out. Jefferson's not going to OTAs. Sound the panic alarm. It's not that big of a deal. Everybody needs to relax on that front. He didn't go last year, and people were freaking out that he was going to hold out. He just likes to train on his own, and when you're a top-tier athlete like that, it's not like I'm nervous about Jefferson not getting his work in. He just wants to enjoy his offseason, and he's a good enough football player to do so. And also, everybody freaking out that Jefferson's not extended about that. Well, check this out. Dan Graziano dropped a great point around when Justin Jefferson could get extended. He said there's a number of reasons to think an extension might take until closer to the season. The Vikings have a policy with their signing bonuses where July 31st is kind of a key date, and they might want to wait until after that. So I tried to look that up, specifically what that key date means. It just means they can't get the most amount of money possible until after that date. It's something specifically with the Minnesota Vikings, which I thought was very interesting. I saw, covering the NFL over the past couple of years more in depth, like, there are so many just like deep rules that I did not know about as just a common fan viewing it. But I think that's definitely playing into it, because if Kwesi's looking at this contract, or looking at his contract extension, I am sure he is looking at that and saying, I want to give as much as I can in a signing bonus just to lower his base salary over the next couple of seasons, before they can build a more complete more complete team around him. But hey, guys, I will be also posting a lot of these highlights on Twitter. So if you guys want to give me a handle over there, that is the handle at Pat Sieps. If you guys do so, I will give you guys a follow back. So give me a handle over there, and I'll give you guys a follow back if you guys do so. But let me know, to close out today's show, how much per year would you give Justin Jefferson? So the highest paid receiver in the NFL right now is A.J. Brown at $32 million a year. Would you give him that, or would you give him more? Let me know your dollar figure that you would pay number 18 per year. And thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes. Alrighty, let me know, everybody, how much per year would you give Justin Jefferson? Z Cool saying 33 per year. Lord Buddy Bear saying 56 million. He's worth it. Buddy Bear, I don't know about 56 million, but Antonio Brown, as we were getting breaking news, just filed for bankruptcy. That is something. Foreskin Skull saying 36 million. Yeah, I mean, even 36 million is so aggressive for a wide receiver, but if there's any wide receiver I would ever pay it to, it would be him. Jeff was here saying 35. Roy Gutierrez saying 40. Erica Point saying 35. If I had to call it, I would want it to be a 6-year deal. So if I would do, let me see. If you would give him a 6-year, $200 million deal, it would end up being 33.3 repeating per year. That's what I would do. If you go 6 years, $200 million, 33 per year, and you guarantee, let's just say 175 of that, which would be absolutely ridiculous, but that would make him the highest paid wide receiver of all time, the most guaranteed money to a receiver of all time. And plus, if you look at that year, when it's years 4, 5, and 6 of that contract, it's probably a lot more of a favorable deal just because NFL salary going up. All these guys are going to end up getting paid more. And, yeah, that's kind of what I would do. But EV saying the Mahomes contract, they're going to give him 10 for $500 million. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm giving any receiver $50 million per year, but nope, saying max contract. Yeah, I mean, I'm giving Jefferson whatever he wants. But we will have a mailbag coming up for you guys in about 30 minutes or so. We did already get a super chat. I think it was from the Pass Master, an absolute legend here. We'll get to that here in a second. But if you guys do want a question or get your thoughts up on show, super chatting or using hashtag Vikings is a great way to do so. As Nope saying, I'm going to need a new question. Nope. Hashtag Vikings. Get it in there. We'll make sure to throw that up on screen. As Michael Costel saying, think he's going to want at least 36. He's looking for more money in the future, too. JJ will probably want 3 years. Yeah, that's a good point. If I'm JJ or if I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm probably wanting a 3-year deal. But if I'm the Vikings, and obviously I want what's best for the Vikings more than what I want what's best for Justin Jefferson, I want him to be extended for probably 6 years. But Pass Master coming in. Everybody give me a skull pass down below in the chat saying, just stopping by. Can't wait for the season to start. Keep up the great work, brother. Pass, I appreciate it. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in as always and just, showing support on the channel. Z Cool saying skull from my man Pass Master. I can't wait for these watch parties to get going. Let me actually ask you guys a question real quick before we dive into the injury updates around TJ Hockenson and the boys. So how many of you guys are Minnesota Timberwolves fans? Because with the Timberwolves going on this run, I was thinking about maybe going live as we got some Mavericks fans. We are in Dallas saying Timberwolves stink, but, I think Timberwolves might pack them up in 6. Would you guys want NBA Finals, for us to potentially go live here on the channel. Live, like simple watch parties, just like we do for Vikings games, but we go live for Minnesota Timberwolves games. Let me know if you guys would want to tune in. We could have some fun. I think it would be a good time. Like, NBA Finals watch party is probably going to be against the Boston Celtics. Like, I just kind of want to get a vibe of it. I've been kind of thinking about it a little bit. So if you guys would tune in, if you guys would want to have some fun, I think it would be I think it would be a good time. But you guys let me know. Just thinking about it right now. Like, obviously we know we are we're a Vikings channel, but also I love Minnesota sports as well. As King saying hell yeah, Hugh saying great idea, Megan saying yes, Roger saying hell yes. Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm going to consider. Timberwolves got to get there first. Hopefully Anthony Edwards and the boys can get it done. But just want to throw that idea out to you guys. Yeah, you guys let me know. But we will have a mailbag coming up in about 20 minutes or so. So, again, get those questions in there. Hashtag Vikings. Nope. I think you asked a question about week 1. Yeah, nope. I will be answering that. I'll be answering that because the Giants' defense definitely will offer some problems. But, we will get to that when we can. But, yeah, we got some TJ Hockenson injury news coming up. And then also Dalton Risner. Does he want to re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings? It is sure looking like that. Look at the Arkansas. Woo. Woo. Scolger saying skull. Shout to Scolger for tuning in. Tristan saying nope. Darnold throws for 3 INTs, 450 yards, 3 TDs. Man. Nah, you ain't that dude. We'll see. Nope. But TJ Hockenson first. That's the mailbag one right there. Yeah. But if you guys are ready to go, we're going to dive into the latest around TJ Hockenson and the Minnesota Vikings. We got an injury update that we'll get into. Shout out to Cameron Thomas. But let's do it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, we got an injury update around TJ Hockenson, and it is a positive one, so we'll give you guys that here in a second. Then also Dalton Risner. Does he want to re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings? We'll dive into that on the second half of today's show. But I wanted to start off today's show with the Vikings being absolutely riddled by injuries last season. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson, 3 of our best players on this football team in and out of lineups through the injuries all season. I want to get the good vibes going. If you want the Vikings to be healthy all next season, just hit that thumbs up icon, guys. It's free. It's an easy way, and I don't want to jinx it. I don't want you guys looking back on this video with potential injury during the season to the Vikes and be like, man, I should have liked that kid's YouTube video. So if you guys could, I'm a superstitious guy, just like the video. But coming in from Alec Lewis here on the TJ Hockenson injury update, he says, TJ, who is still rehabbing from the ACL/MCL tear, was present today at OTAs. Definitely didn't have to be there, but thought it was cool. He was hanging out there supporting Sam Darnold, and he was high-fiving J.J. McCarthy, etc. So, I'm not saying this is a major, positive injury update. Like he was, out there running routes or he was out there, doing drills. Like, no, he was just there hanging out. But for a guy who tore his ACL in the later half of the year, like, I think this is extremely, extremely, extremely positive into him potentially returning earlier than we expected. So I understand this is quarterback ACL recovery time, but I do think this offers good insight of when TJ Hockenson could potentially return. So if you guys look up on screen, so TJ Hockenson, keep this in mind, he got hurt in week 16 of last season. So I want you guys to look at Kyler Murray and Carson Wentz right now. Kyler Murray got hurt in week 14. He wasn't able to return until week 10 of the following season. So on the TJ Hockenson timeline, that would be around week 12. Now on the Carson Wentz, got hurt week 14. He had a super speedy recovery, and he was able to return week 3. So I think TJ Hockenson, best case scenario for him is around week 5, and then worst case scenario for Hock is probably around, I'd say, week 13, 14, even though if it got to that point in the season, like, that would be incredibly, incredibly concerning. But if you guys don't know, the Vikings did sign Robert Tonyan, who actually, fun fact, so he was signed by the Lions as a UDFA. Then he went to the Packers for a couple years, had some great years with Aaron Rodgers, had 11 touchdowns in a season. Then he went to the Bears, and now he's on the Vikings. So he's played on all 4 NFC North teams. I actually probably should look that up after the show. It's like how many players have ever done that in the career, played for all divisional teams. But Robert Tonyan's kind of completing that cycle here as he was signed by the Vikes. And, you know, when the Vikings made this signing, I didn't think it meant, you know, too much for the TJ Hockenson stuff, but I think it definitely probably means he will be out for at least the first 2 months of the season, first 8 weeks. But you know, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how Hawk recovers and all of that. But I think Tonyan is a great option as that pass catcher. And then obviously we know we got Josh Oliver. I was a big fan of Josh Oliver when they signed him last offseason. He's the best run-blocking tight end, undisputed in the NFL. You ask anybody, you ask any position coach, whoever in me, you see the way they talk about Josh Oliver. He is the best in the game. So, you know, I love the 1-2 punch they had of Hawk and Josh Oliver, but they can maintain with Tonyan and Oliver, no doubt. Obviously, you don't have that top-end talent that Hawk brings, but you're still able to have a very serviceable room. Let's go back in time here and look at just T.J. Hockenson over this past season. If you guys have been watching the show for a while, you guys know T.J. Hockenson absolutely drove me crazy during the first 6, 7, 8 weeks of the year. Drops were an issue, and all 4 of those drops that you see on screen did happen in the first 10 weeks of the season. And as a tight end, that's the number one thing you want, is just a sure hands. You want that safety net kind of comfortability with a guy, you know, like himself. But he turned around and had a great year, almost eclipsing 1,000 yards. He would have definitely done so if he did, you know, obviously play, you know, all 17 games. He would have had 100 catches as well, found the end zone 5 times. But Hockenson, he really impressed me on the second half of that season. And I honestly was looking back at the Hockenson trade too, I honestly still think this was a good deal. You know, Vikings fans, you know, a lot of them on social media were like, oh man, like I hated giving up that 2nd round pick, and I get it. You give up a 3rd as well, but you got 2 fourths on top of that. And I understand having that 2nd round pick, who actually ended up going to, I believe it was Laporta or Brian Branch for the Lions. So 2 great picks there, but I still think this deal was good. I don't understand a lot of Vikings fans. You know, I saw it go on viral on Twitter saying, you know, that I can't believe the Vikings ended up making this deal. We could have got somebody else. And, you know, keep in mind they did make Hockenson the highest paid tight end in the NFL after this. But still looking back on this deal, if you would have gave me that same choice, you know, at that time a couple seasons ago, I still would have been, you know, accepting this deal on the table for the Vikings. But you guys let me know right now. Is T.J. Hockenson a top 5 tight end in the NFL? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comment section. Got guys like Kittle, Kelsey, but, you know, besides that, who else is really out there? You guys let me know. Is T.J. Hockenson a top 5 tight end in the NFL? Now, coming up next on the show, Dalton Risner, looking like he wants to re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings, as apparently his agent has been reaching out to Minnesota. We'll get to that here in a second, but first off, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys download the Prize Picks app and use promo code CLNS on your first deposit, we will match it up to $100. That's first deposit matches into your account. When you use promo code CLNS, we will match it up to $100. It's simple. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And with the conference finals here, guys, there's no better time to be playing Prize Picks. Put your basketball knowledge to the test and create a lineup today for your very own Minnesota Timberwolves. But it's daily fantasy sports made easy. Choose more, choose less. It's Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. Make sure you check them out. And when you're making your first deposit into your account, take advantage of it. Limited time offer. Use promo code CLNS, and we'll match it up to $100. So shout out to Vikings fan page on Twitter. Great aggregator for all Vikings content. They tweeted this out regarding a article put out there by Darren Wolfson saying Dalton Risner's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, has been trying to work it in talks with the Vikings on a potential return. Risner continues to have interest in returning to Minnesota, but the Vikings don't seem to be nibbling. Then he carried on to say Minnesota wants to see how Blake Brandel plays for some stretches, and in the moment doesn't seem like there is any steam between Risner and Minnesota. So this is currently how the Vikings offensive line is shaking out for week 1. I would put all my money in my bank account on this being the starting 5 for Minnesota, with Darrisaw and O'Neal at the tackles, Brandell and Ingram at the guards, then Garrett Bradbury at the center. And if you guys don't remember, Risner was not signed before the season for the Vikings. He actually joined in week 5, and maybe the Vikings are potentially playing it the same, where they're going to say, like, maybe the Vikings are saying right now, where they're like, we're going to see how Blake Brandell goes. Hopefully Risner doesn't get signed anywhere else. And then if that's a disaster, we just bring him in, midway through next season, just like we did last year. Is that fair to Risner? Probably not. Would he want to go get another deal somewhere else? Probably. But he was very good for the Vikings last season. I mean, 57.1 overall grade, great in the pass blocking department, pretty good in the run blocking department as well. And he has just been, solid throughout his NFL career, no doubt about it. But I'm sure Dalton Risner, the number one thing he's looking at is this. He's looking at the offensive guard money that's been thrown out there this season, and it's been a lot, man. I mean, Robert Hunt getting 5 for 100 from the Carolina Panthers. Then they also paid Damian Lewis a 4-year, $53 million deal. The Rams offered a ton of money to that spot this offseason, giving Jonah Jackson 3 for 50, Kevin Dotson 3 for 48, and even a guy like Graham Glasgow, who I'm sure Dalton Risner is looking at him and saying, I've had the same production as him the past couple of seasons. I should be at least getting 3 for 20. So this has been the biggest holdup in this deal, is Dalton Risner not being able to get a deal done with the Minnesota Vikings. It's definitely coming down, to the guaranteed money, how many years are on that deal, and just overall how much money he is getting. But, Blake Brandell, I don't think would be a bad option. He did play 161 snaps last year at right guard, and he is just a big body, 6'7", 315 pounds. Coming out of college from Oregon State as a 6th-round pick, he was supposed to be a swing tackle, but, I think when he bumped inside last year, we saw his best ball of his career. So I think the Vikings, they're going to have to, definitely address this offensive line big time next season. Purple for the Win podcast, great other YouTube channel for the Vikings, threw out a hot take way too early, saying, I guarantee the Vikings are going to make Creed Humphrey the highest paid interior offensive lineman ever. And, hey, I would love that. He's a great football player. But, it's probably not going to be this, offseason with a lot of these guys, off the market of them, swinging big for an offensive lineman. But definitely next season, they're gonna have to do something, because I'm hating just kind of, bandaging up this offensive line. And I want to have some real dogs in there next to our 2 bookend tackles. But you guys let me know, who would you pick as your starting left guard this upcoming season? Will you kind of run the risk going with Blake Brandell? Give me a BB. But if you guys want to potentially sign Dalton Risner, have him start at left guard, give me a DR. Keep in mind, you would have to pay Risner, a little bit of coin to have him be the starter. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. And if you guys want more Vikings content in your life on Twitter, that's the handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. I would really appreciate it. If you guys do so, I will give you guys a follow back. As always, Skol Vikes. We had my man Skolger coming in with a $50 super chat. That's what's up, Skolger. I appreciate it. I'll hit you up. Actually, I was talking to a couple of guys I talked to on Twitter about going live on the Wolves channel. But hey, seems like you want it. My bad for not hitting you up about it. As you said, Skol Wolves. Yeah, we're talking about it right now. We're talking about it right now. We'll see. I think it would be fun. Lord Buddy Bear saying Trizzy in the house.
What's
Hell
up,
yeah.
Buddy Bear? I think that the T-Wolves watch parties would go insane.
I think they would too. So, listen, we were talking about it with the T-Wolves kind of, being the talk of Minnesota sports right now, and, us not having a T-Wolves channel here at Chat Sports, I feel a little left out, not in on the fun that all these Minnesotians are talking about. So, we'll have to wait and see, but just wanted to flow that idea out to you guys about the T-Wolves watch parties. But Skolger, really appreciate it, man. Always showing support. You've won a couple raffle items from us in the past, so I really do. I just appreciate you. Appreciate you for tuning in. Lord Buddy Bear, don't worry about it. A little behind the scenes going on. But yeah, pick a starting left guard. I saw a lot of DRs coming in. That was to be expected. No doubt about it. But we are going to be getting a mailbag right now.
Lord Buddy Bear, I changed my name legally. That's why it says Tyler Smith.
Yeah, you didn't know that? You didn't know that,
Come
Buddy
on,
Bear?
man. You should be knowing all this stuff. I thought you were a Chat Sports fan.
Yeah. Nope, saying you doing a dual stream with Marsh week 1. I am not. Marsh and I are going head-to-head, man in the arena style week 1. So it's going to be fun. Nope, I hope you're ready. I hope all my Giants fans are ready for week 1, Sammy D and the boys rolling into MetLife. But hey, mailbag coming up. Get those in there. Get those questions or super chat if you guys would want to skip the line. Ask whatever you want about your Minnesota Vikings, JJ, whatever it may be. Get those questions in there. Nope, I love that. We'll definitely get there.
We don't have a ton of questions, so if you do ask one, you got a good chance to get on the show.
We'll get on. I'd appreciate it, guys. Talk about whatever you want. We're going to start off the mailbag talking about Hunter Renfro as ESPN linked him to the Minnesota Vikings. But nope, love the question. We'll definitely chop it up about week 1 with you. As Rob Simpy in the chat. Rob Simpy saying boo. Rob, I know you're scared of the Vikes rolling into MetLife, man. I know you're scared of the Vikes rolling into that building. But if you guys could, super chat, hashtag Vikings, ask a question, and dude, right there. Yes, dude. That was a hell of a play by him. 4-4. All righty. All right, well, we'll get through this mailbag, see this bottom of the 9th. Maybe I asked too. Yeah, nope. Ask as many questions as you want. But, Trace, if you're ready, you can knock out this mailbag and answer questions from the real ones. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Vikings signing Hunter Renfro as ESPN did link Minnesota to the star slot receiver. Then second half of today's show, my favorite part that we do here at Chat Sports is we answer questions from you guys. From subscribers. If you guys haven't already, hit that sub button and lock us in. But before we dive into the Renfro piece, I am trying to grow my Twitter following right now. So if you guys do give me a follow on Twitter, that's the handle, at Pat Seeps right there. I will give you guys a follow back, no doubt about it. So if you guys could, I would really appreciate it. Hit me up on Twitter and I will give you guys a follow back. But it was Bill Barnwell talking about Hunter Renfro heading to the Minnesota Vikings. As when asked about Hunter Renfro, where he's going to sign, he said, what about the Vikings? They're set atop of the depth chart with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but KJ Osborn joined the Patriots, and top tight end TJ Hockenson is coming off a torn ACL. The Vikings brought in Trent Sherfield this offseason and could expand Brandon Powell's role, but Hunter Renfro has a much more productive season in his recent past than either player has had at any point during their respective careers. Renfro would probably be competing with Powell for the third wideout and punt returner role in Minnesota, a battle he could win if given the opportunity. And I agree with what Bill's saying. Like, the Vikings wide receiver group is definitely top heavy. You got the 2 top dogs, but I don't necessarily think Renfro would walk in here and be an automatic choice at wide receiver 3 since he hasn't really produced since 2021. Like 2021, he was great. He was awesome for the Las Vegas Raiders. Him and Derek Carr had a great connection that season, going over 100 catches, 1,000 yards. But he's been in and out of the lineups the past 2 seasons and couldn't really crack that rotation. And I like a lot of guys during this Vikings wide receiver room. Excuse me. Brandon Powell. I'm a big fan of him. Even like Malik Nolis, who's on the practice squad, Tristan Jackson, Lucky Jackson. Like, I like those guys as well, but we can focus on the big 3 here, and that's Trent Sherfield, Jalen Nailor, and Brandon Powell. And listen, these 3 guys, they all do different things well. Like, Brandon Powell is like that typical shifty slot receiver who can create, separation in a phone booth. Trent Sherfield is the prototypical run-blocking, big-body slot wide receiver who on, first and second downs where you're running 3 wide receivers, I think he would be a great option. And now you got the young guy, Jalen Nailor, 6th-round pick out of Michigan State. Like, he is a guy that I am super high on, and if I were the Vikings, I had to pick a wide receiver 3 for this season, it would be Jalen Nailor, and I would just kind of give him the keys, to that car and say, hey, you take off with it, and we'll see what you develop into, because I think he's got real juice. But I also want you guys to keep your eyes on this guy, Devron Harper. So he was a UDFA from Mercer that the Vikings did sign to by no means this was not a massive UDFA deal, but they signed him pretty early. And they gave him a $5,000 signing bonus and $10,000 in guaranteed money and he was pretty good during his time at Mercer. He's 5'9", a super shifty wide receiver, and he was able to produce a ton, and Mercer was a huge run-first offense. Keep this in mind. But he went for over 1,900 yards in 3 seasons, 13 touchdowns, 56.7 yards per game. He was used in a dual-threat role where he also had a ton of rushing production as well there. And, when I watch him, he's a human joystick, man. I mean, you just turn on his highlights. Obviously, the competition is a lot, weaker than it would be in the NFL or even if he played in the SEC. But just wanted to tell you guys about Devron Harper. He's super shifty. He could be a gadget guy for the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming year. But, I just think they have a lot more of better in-house options at that wide receiver 3 spot than, the most, common fan thinks. But you guys let me know who will be wide receiver 3 for the Vikings next season. My answer and who I want to be is Jalen Nailor, 6th-round pick out of Michigan State a couple years ago. Who's likely going to be wide receiver 3? I got no idea. So you guys let me know who will be wide receiver 3 for the Vikes next season. Now coming up next here, we are going to be taking questions from Vikings fans during our mailbag section. Absolutely love this part of our shows here. But if you guys want to get hooked up with a J.J. McCarthy jersey first, head to this link right here, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Get that number 9 purple and gold jersey for yourself to be rocking this year. I think this is going to be one of the hottest jerseys amongst Vikings fans for the next 10 seasons. So if you guys want to get one early, hit that link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. I already got mine on my way, and I just can't wait to get it. But put that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. X is vibing, keeping it with wide receivers, saying, who can make the roster? For me, it's Thayer Thomas. So, okay, I was going to do a video about Thayer Thomas because Kevin O'Connell, after rookie minicamp, and Thayer, obviously this is his second year, but he came back for rookie minicamp, which I thought was pretty cool as well. Kevin O'Connell raved about him and just raved about the growth he made from years 1 to years 2, saying he was constantly hitting him up, saying, where could I get better and all this. So Thayer Thomas is another name. Keep your eyes out on him. And that's also just another reason why I don't think the Vikings are going to, go jump the gun and bring in another wide receiver because, you got the 2 top dogs. They're going to take majority of the production, but you also got other guys behind them, like a Thayer Thomas, like a Nailor, Sherfield, all these guys. So, great call. X is vibing on that one. But EV saying, should Minnesota call Terrell Owens the TO? He's training for a return. If this was back about 15, 20 years ago, hell yeah, the Vikings should bring in Terrell Owens. But right now, probably not, man. I will say, one of the freakiest, athletes probably on the earth right now for his age. I'm going to look this up real quick. How old is Terrell Owens? This dude looks like he is still a cut-up 25-year-old. But, at age 50, I'm going to probably say no on that. But, EV, I appreciate you, man. Be cool saying, if Sam Darnold struggles, at what point would you switch to the reins to JJ? Great question, Z. Cool. I'm assuming we'll be talking about this a lot. So, with where the Vikings schedule is, and I'll pull this up real quick. There was if there was any game for them to go to McCarthy, I don't think it's going to come before the bye. So I think that guarantees, the first 5 games going to Sam Darnold, Giants, Niners, Texans, Packers, and Jets in London. That's the first 5 will go to Darnold. I don't know if they're going to put him out there to the Lions game after the bye, even though that is at home. They could do that. But the stretch I'm looking at specifically is after the Bears game is when they have a 3-game homestand of the Cardinals, Falcons, and Bears December 1st, 12 p.m. And then you got the Falcons December 8th at 12. And then the Bears the following week on Monday night. If he is going to play this season, I think it will be December 1st against the Cardinals. But still, my prediction is I'm saying J.J. McCarthy does not start at all week year 1. And then next year, he will be the starting quarterback right away. But Z, cool. Great question as always. And now my man Nope coming in here. Great profile pick as well. Saying, how are you feeling about your offense week 1? Is coming, and the Giants' defense is going to be relentless. Dex, Tibbs, Burns, be ready. So me and Marshall Green, our Giants Now host here at Chat Sports, we've already been talking smack and chopping it up about week 1, who's going to win the Vikings-Giants game. And, my biggest concern, bar none, and this is a way too early preview for that matchup, that Giants defensive line, man. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. They are going to be coming, and they're going to be relentless trying to get to the quarterback. The Vikings' interior offensive line is not that strong with Bradbury, Brandel, and Ingram. And if you got to deal with Dexter Lawrence, who necessarily won the Giants that wild card game a couple years ago with that interior pressure on Kirk that caused him to check it down to T.J. Hockenson on 4th and 8. Still not over that, but I don't know about that game just yet. But I feel like week 1 the storyline's going to be Sam Darnold finally is stepping into his own. I'm not saying he's going to light it up for 404, but I think Sam Darnold, he's going to have a good game just because the weapons that are around him and that support system that the Vikings are going to offer him. But as it stands right now, Giants are a point favorite in week 1, but I'm going to be hammering the Vikes, no doubt about it. But speaking about Sam Darnold, coming in from Bobby Wags here saying, do you think Sam Darnold can lead the Vikings to the playoffs? Do I think it can happen? 100%. I feel like people are just kind of, Sam Darnold's a bridge quarterback, get him out of here right away. You go look at the comments under the Vikings Instagram page, anytime they tweet out or post anything about Sam Darnold, all the comments are, where's J.J. McCarthy? Where's J.J. McCarthy? All this. I understand. I want to see more McCarthy too. But people, don't forget, Sam Darnold was the 3rd pick in the draft, and he hasn't really had a fair chance to start in the NFL ever. This is for one time with the team around him, not being a backup because he was with San Fran last season, but obviously that was Brock Purdy's job. This is his job to lose. Vikings are going to be all in on Sam Darnold, and the Vikings' dream scenario right now is Sam Darnold leads you to the playoffs, leads you to the wild card, and J.J. doesn't have to see the field. All Vikings fans, you guys will see what Sammy D has to offer. I'm a believer in him, no doubt about it. But Mike Nintendo and Master coming in with the next question saying, should the Vikings sign another offensive lineman? Yeah, they should. There's just not really that many good choices out there right now. You got probably the biggest name and the most talented name is Connor Williams, but with his injury history and him being playing center the past couple of seasons, I don't really think he's that great of a choice. But my number one choice would be Dalton Risner. Who really? It's just going to come down to if Blake Brandel can play left guard. If Blake Brandel is a good left guard, they're not going to even sniff the thought of bringing back Dalton Risner. But clearly Risner wants to be in Minnesota. But should they bring in another one? Yeah, 100%. It's still a weak part of their overall roster. But nope, saying I wouldn't let Vikings fans run away. Is revenge on your mind for what the Giants did to you in the wild card in 2022? Nope, I'm actually going to say no to this. It's just a completely different team. What was the biggest reason the Vikings lost that game versus the Giants? It was Ed Donatel. It was his prevent defense. It was terrible. Vikings had the worst defense in the league that year, and they still won 13 games. Still don't know how they, pulled that off. But, it was Kirk Cousins at quarterback, totally different team. And now it's like you got Brian Flores and Sam Darnold. So, yeah, I would love to beat the Giants, but it's not one of those situations where it's very similar teams, and it's like the Vikings and Giants are at the top of the NFC, and it's like, oh, this is our get back for wild card weekend. Honestly, no, not really. But if you're a Vikings fan that's still, watching today's show, do you consider this a revenge game? You guys let me know, as well. But if you guys did make it to the end of today's video, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I always appreciate the support here on the channel. And it's been awesome, man. It has truly been awesome chopping it up with you guys about this team, all year long. But if you guys made it to the end, you're a real one. Give me a skull down below in the chat. And then also right there, one last time, give me a follow over there on Twitter. And if you guys do so, I will give you guys a follow back. But thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all next time. Skol Vikes. Z Cool in the chat saying Skol. Rob Simpy saying Skol. Twisted Wizard saying Skol. Z Cool saying revenge maybe last year was we're over that crap. Yeah, time to focus on it now, 100%. There's no way. Let's go. So this is Trace's new dog, everybody.
We got the 20, so I was like, we got to show.
Yes. Oh, this is awesome. Trace, what's his name, by the way?
His name is Dude. He's a boxer and lab mix, and he's about 5 years old. He's a homie.
He is adorable. Honestly, homie. Seen him in person, He is so cute, guys. Like this is sweet. This is sweet. If you had, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If there was any like Saints related player name you would name him, could you think of one for
Gumbo. That's
Gumbo?
the name of the
Yeah.
mascot that the Saints have.
Okay,
but for
Gumbo
a
would be a
player,
good name.
for a player specifically,
Taysom?
I feel like
don't know.
Taysom would be an interesting
Taysom would be a good one. And you guys also in the chat, let me know if you had to name your dog.
Or Breeze. Just name him Breeze.
Breeze would be a good one.
What's up, Just Breeze the
Hey,
dog?
Breeze, come here. Yeah, that would be a good one. If you guys had to name like a Vikings related player for your dog, what would it be? Mine was Diggs as Z.
I feel like Jetta would be a good one.
Jetta would be a good
Jetta
one.
would be a good puppy name.
Jetta would be as Z Cool saying Davenport. No, Trace and I are on the same page. We're not naming our dog Davenport. Addison?
Cruel and unusual punishment is very bad, especially when it comes to animals.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it with Marcus Davenport.
Anthony Webb.
Ivan Pace.
Pace would be a
Pace.
sweet dog's name.
Anthony Webb knows ball.
Anthony Webb knows.
Tiberius.
Tiberius, that's a
Good
good
one.
dog name. Jets, Jetta, Jet, that would be an
That'd be
awesome
a good
one.
one.
I'm trying to think any more for the Vikes. That Dallas, like for Dallas Turner, that's
What
not
about
terrible.
Peterson?
Peterson,
They call him
AP, like
AP.
AD,
Call him all day.
all day. Like McCarthy, no.
Could
JJ,
do
no.
Randy.
Randy,
Randy Moss.
Randy would be a fun one.
Randy the dog.
Randy, yeah. See, like Diggs, I will say, even though I'd never name a dog Diggs now, but like Diggs was such a good name for a
That's a
dog, man.
great
Like
dog
Diggsy,
Such a good one.
Rice, yeah, that's a good one too. I saw a tweet that it was like every boy growing up has an unusual connection with a random wide receiver when they were 9 years old.
Yep.
For me, that's Sidney Rice. I was literally 9 years old when the Vikings made it to the NFC Championship, versus the Saints, and
I was gonna say mine's Marcus Colston.
Marcus Colston.
Never
Colston.
made a
one of those-
Pro Bowl.
yes.
Never got the recognition.
Ooh.
But hey,
Buddy Bear going Culpepper. Culpepper's
that's
a good one.
one.
Culpepper,
That's
that's
good
a great
one
dog
for a
name.
dog.
Buddy Bear, would you ever name your dog after a Raiders player? That's a good question.
Would you
there,
name your
too.
dog Derek Carr? Derek Bark.
Derek Bark. Crosby, that'd be a good name for a dog.
Crosby. Max, just with two
Max,
X's, is a
Max
good one.
with two X. Yeah, I
That's
like
a good
that.
one.
Tark too. Yeah, Fran Tarkenton, I like that one. Yeah, Crosby.
Crosby.
I'll go with Crosby, but
Anthony-
I'm a big fan of that.
Anthony said he had a turtle named Moss. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's pretty dope.
There was a Cubs first baseman back in the day. His name was Derek Lee, if you guys remember who that was. But my friend had two cats. One name was Derek, one name was Lee, and I thought it was sweet. Brock Bowers, Z Cool. Don't even bring that up. Saying Blair. Yeah, all right, Z Cool. That's pretty funny. But listen, guys, just want to say thank you so much for watching today's live show. We're going to go hop over to our Saints Now channel, probably going live there in 30, 40 minutes. So if you guys just want to chop it up with Trace and I a little more, check that out, Saints Now by Chat Sports. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. See y'all next time. As always, Skol Vikes, baby.